the Husky Huddle, we gather round. Coach Schumann and Steve Cully were never found. They talk about the team with such zeal, strategies and plays. They analyze it well. The stadium's full of cheers and shouts. UConn's got spirit, we'll never doubt. Coaches share their thoughts. It's quite the treat. In this lively huddle we always meet. Huskies, we stand tall. With Coach Schumann and Steve Cully we call. Game plans and strategies, we break it down. In the Husky Huddle, our passion won. From defensive line.
Oh, yes. We have so much passion, such lively discussion and friendly banter on the Husky
I wouldn't
Huddle.
call the other day between you two friendly banter.
We have the coach himself, Coach Schumann, showcasepro.org recruiting app, which is going to be on sale. And the legendary, iconic voice of the Huskies, the best of the best, Mr. Joe D'Ambrosia. Joe, how are you, sir?
For the next several days, I am no longer Joe D. I want to be addressed as Roman Candle.
Roman.
You can be don't start throwing those around. Lose a finger.
The Roman Candle. I love it. You can be the Roman Candle for sure.
No, I don't. How are you boys this morning?
We're okay.
Who knew the white smoke would emerge from the Sistine Chapel at the Burton Family Football Complex as quickly as it did?
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty hot. It is white hot. It is white hot right now. That's why there's a lot to talk about. UConn had numerous bowl projections. The last place they wanted to go was back to Fenway.
No, it's not. No, it's not. That's a false narrative.
Okay, the last place would probably be out west, but I know that playing in the Fenway Bowl is somewhat problematic.
How?
Because a lot of kids don't want to play in it.
Well, a lot of kids aren't going to want to play anywhere, but UConn pitched for the Fenway Bowl. To say UConn didn't want to go to the Fenway Bowl is kind of a misstatement.
The players
did not want to go. I actually think there's two things that are true at the same time. I agree with Joe. UConn, the entity wanted to go, wants to go to the Fenway Bowl, and the players themselves are not huge fans of going back to the Fenway Bowl. I think last year, they were excited about it.
They were.
I think since it's a lot of the same men, right? I think that they feel like they've done that already. So that might right. So the fans, I think, will be excited. I think UConn, the institution, is excited. I think the players are going to have to get on board a little bit because they played there, and especially with all the transfer portal stuff, I think that makes it a little more difficult to get them kind of going from that standpoint. I mean, I guess that's the job of the coaches, but who knows if that's even something they're able to do in this era. I think it may be more the players talking to other players about.
Right, I can agree with that. But the school wanted to go back to the Fenway Bowl.
I agree with that. Yes, I agree too.
They were happy to go to the Fenway Bowl. They thought it was
one of the projections. And again, these bowl projections, much like we found out the Bowl Committee Weekly Reveal show, are a bunch of crap. Okay, but there was one that had them playing on a Wednesday night in someplace in Alabama, Jefferson, someplace in Alabama, not Birmingham. But so the options were not as free flowing as they were. And I'll be honest with you, boys, and we got so much to talk about with the bowl and the new coach and everything. This might be for later in the show. Notre Dame, Kansas State, Iowa State, and a bunch of 5 and 7 schools, including the State University of New Jersey, said thanks but no thanks to a bowl. I think this is the last year we see this bowl system the way that it is.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be retooled.
Well, especially with the portal and coaches believing. I mean, look at, there's a very realistic possibility UConn could be just like North Carolina was last year at the Fenway.
Oh, very, very much so. A skeleton crew. Absolutely. Absolutely. It could be just like that. And you're right.
We're kind of in that circumstance whereas last year we were very enthusiastic and excited to have the opportunity. This may be, man, I don't know if it will be, but it may be the opposite, right?
Yeah, I mean, from the early rumblings from people, it's not the same response as last year. There's somewhat of a disappointment between the players. They wanted to play a school like NC State. They wanted to play a Wake Forest. They wanted a Power 4 conference school. Army, it was not a school that was on their wish list. But I think going to a bowl game period is still really an accomplishment for us to get picked. And Iowa State and Kansas State being fined for not playing. And I believe Iowa State was 8-4. And then you have, they move down to the 5 and 7 teams to give them an opportunity. And they say no. I think Joe is 100% right. They're going to either cancel some of the bowls or revamp the system, expand the playoffs. I mean, I don't know what the answer is. Bowl games have been a tradition since when, Joe? Since the 50s, 60s?
Well, but this is iteration, Steve, of playing a million bowl games. This is all because of the monolith in Bristol. Has nothing to do with the good of the college sport. ESPN's looking for programming, so they don't have to run that jackass Ken McAfee 100 hours a day or Stephen A. Smith 100 hours a day. Okay,
right.
ESPN's just looking for holiday programming.
You're right. They are.
And you know what? And it's been this way. And it's been this way since our first bowl in 2004. And I don't know how you guys feel because we all love football, but 95% of these bowl games, the general public doesn't give a rat's ass about. It's only at the two schools,
No.
I mean, you can run through the bowl game lineup, and most people don't care, right?
And they don't make money for the most part, right? I mean, for the athletic departments, a lot of them lose money?
I think that's true.
Yeah, so they're losing money going to them. It's supposed to be a reward for the kids. And now with the playoff system, obviously, it's not nearly a reward, especially with Notre Dame not going, although I do understand their gripe.
Oh, I don't.
I understand it, but
I don't. Let's not let Notre Dame off the hook here.
I hate Notre Dame, believe me.
Just because you don't get your way, you're not allowed to take your ball and run. Come on.
No, I think that's ridiculous.
What lesson does that teach?
They dropped 70 on Syracuse. I think going into a bowl and dominating, kind of like what happened to Florida State a couple of years ago, how they got blown out. I think that sends a message. Go knock the crap out of somebody. Show that you should have belonged.
I agree.
And I do think a 9-3 Alabama team getting in was ridiculous. 5 SEC teams. I mean, I get it's the toughest conference, the hardest schedule. They added strength of schedule as part of the protocol for this year. But then you might as well have the SEC and the Big Ten and just screw everyone else.
Well, the commissioner of the SEC said they should have got 7 in. So explain that to me.
They wanted Texas. They thought Texas should have got in. And I believe Vanderbilt was another one. Yeah. Yep. I mean, that's what he believes. And it's basically because in his mind, if you take any of those other teams and if they have to play the rigors of an SEC schedule, what would they come out with? The bottom line is, especially Oklahoma, Ole Miss, A&M, teams that didn't play in the championship. When you go through that league, the number of teams, the schedule itself, you're not going to come out undefeated anymore. It's going to be 1 and 2 loss teams. It's not going to be perfect. And I do think there's going to be 3 loss teams. But do I think that Alabama should have replaced Notre Dame? If I had to guess in my heart who's the better team, I'd probably say Alabama. But I do think Notre Dame should have gotten the playoff spot.
Well, and that brings up the whole, why do you need 2 group of 5 schools?
That's what I didn't understand. I did not get that.
I didn't get the 2 either. I get how. Yeah, I do. I thought that was the original point. Like, I do get that. Here's what I think they should do with the group of 5. I do get that they both had good records and they had a hard time choosing between the 2. But I don't get taking 2 of them. What they should have in a group of 5 in order to get in is another this week before the bowl games all kick off. This is Army-Navy week, right? Coming up.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. They should also have on this weekend a national championship for group of 5. The group of 5 winner, whoever should go to the final 12. Because what you have is we really don't know how good JMU or Tulane really are, even though we do know because Tulane got smoked by Ole Miss. Smoked. Absolutely smoked. And Ole Miss is not the favorite. Well, even when Lane Kiffin was there, was not the favorite to win the national championship by any stretch of the imagination. Not that they couldn't compete. I mean, they would have had a chance if they hit it right. But I don't know if defensively they have the guys. But but that's really what has to happen in a group of 5, because there probably is no way there should be 2 of them in there. Is my guess.
Yeah, I don't know how it happened.
Yeah, if you can't determine, I think that's an easy solution too. And you just go off rankings. You just whoever's ranked highest in the group of 5 and the other one. I don't care if it's 15 and 20, 25 or 15 and 40. Those 2 play. One of them gets in, and that way we don't have to get this situation, because you could easily have several instances each year where guys can be 11-1 or 12-0. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, the reason they got in was because they were both higher ranked than the ACC.
ACC champ, yes.
Right. The ACC.
No ACC team. Yeah.
Well, Miami got in.
No ACC team should be going. To me, it should be Vanderbilt should be in. Okay.
And BYU, and I think BYU.
I don't think
Notre Dame. No, Notre Dame. Notre Dame.
BYU sucked. Yeah. I think. I know. I know Alabama got in, but Alabama looked terrible. Absolutely looked terrible. I guess they don't want. They don't want to penalize for making that game. But the truth is, they penalize the ACT teams for losing.
Well, but also, Alabama barely beat a 5-win Auburn team. They played crap against Auburn.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. 100% right. I watched that game.
Right. They had several close wins.
The Vanderbilt should be in. Vanderbilt lost to Alabama, I guess, right? That was one of the reasons why they didn't get in.
Yeah.
But that was earlier in the year, and that was when Alabama point. They were rolling at that point. And maybe they have injuries, and maybe they'll be better once they have a few weeks or whatever it is, a couple of weeks. I just, I don't know, like Texas or if you were to say, are Texas or Notre Dame? Texas is better right now than Notre Dame.
I think Texas has been
Texas A&M. They spanked Texas A&M.
I know.
Texas A&M was undefeated, even though they played almost nobody. And that's the other thing, schedule-wise. I know they put them in divisions in the ACC, for example, the SEC, for example, in the big. you get these situations where people don't play each other. Right. So like Ohio State played nobody basically, and wasn't ready for Indiana. I don't know that Ohio State isn't better than Indiana. I just think Ohio State has played nobody, okay, that's really good this year per se, and now they get into that game with Indiana. I just think they weren't hardened enough, in order to be. And Indiana obviously is good, and they have some guys that are really, really exceptional, and they're a great team unit. Coach is great. Obviously, all those things are true, but yeah, I think that like the ACC is like the pinnacle example. Like that whole scenario with Duke playing.
I didn't get that.
It was like all these tiebreakers. I mean, that makes ACC into a joke. That literally made it into a joke. And when Duke beat them, that shows you how much of a joke the ACC is competition-wise. What a joke it is, because Clemson, now that Florida State's bad, at Clemson, now that Dabo's trying to play a little bit of catch up with the transfer portal stuff, but his heart is really not a believer in the whole transfer portal thing. So it's going to be difficult for him to be what Dabo's teams were, right? Like when it was more high school guys, he was phenomenal. Developer, the guy's a culture guy, but that's different now. So, it's not his fault. And but like if he's going to kind of be half in on the transfer portal, he's never going to be the way that he could potentially be. Like if he went all in on the transfer portal, I think he would be just as good as he ever was, because he has the ability to be a good recruiter, but he's just not all in on it. I just think it's not just a terrible system as far as how they're picking these things. Okay. The only way to solve this, I hate to say this, is either go back to less or go up to 16.
I think they're going to go up to 16 and eventually 24.
No, they'll never go.
No. 16 will be the max because everyone else is 16.
Because if you do 24, then that's 5 weeks of playoffs with 12 weeks of the regular. No, it's not the NFL. It'll never go. It'll go to 16. Yeah. By the way, speaking of Indiana, I don't know if either of you Husky legends know this, but there's a UConn connection to the Indiana success. Chandler Whitmer, who was a quarterback from 2010 to 2014, got injured. Balto came in and thinks it hit the skids, is the pass game coordinator and co-offensive coordinator for Indiana. I saw that looking at their game notes, and then I saw him on the field talking to Mendoza during a timeout. So congratulations.
He's done a great job.
Had injury problems at UConn, but he did well. All right,
I know Chandler very, very well. Great kid.
He's a good kid.
Guy. And I didn't realize he was at Clemson, and
he also coached in the NFL. He coached Atlanta, and there was one other spot that he coached. But so we agree the Fenway Bowl, good for the school. Kids might not be enthusiastic about it. Army plays like Air Force, so you can just go back to your defense again. Oh no, you can't, because Air Force ran all over you. So you got to change your defense as opposed to what you did against Army. But I mean, today, 12:30, the big story is the introduction of Jason Candle. Now, Steve, I watched in full the explosive episode of Husky Huddle on Friday when you were dropping F-bombs like it was a porn movie. Now that you've had time to compose yourself, what are your thoughts on Jason Candle?
He's a wonderful hire. He's exceptional. He'll come in and do a phenomenal job. He won at Toledo. He knows the transfer portal. He knows the Northeast. He knows how to recruit. He will have a lot of success here. No doubt.
My head is spinning around like Chucky.
Wow. You changed gears. You changed gears.
I didn't change gears. I just think it's going to be a similar situation where he'll leave in 3 years. That's the only thing.
Oh, okay.
See, I don't, because I think I think he's 46, right? So he can stay here 5-6 years, build a resume, and then go on to the next big money job. And much like, as a friend of mine who's in the media said on Friday to me, he said, or Saturday, he said, until yesterday, UConn fans couldn't tell Jason Candle from a Roman candle, and now they think he's the second coming of Lombardi. All right,
Dave knew him very well.
I knew who he was just because of
him.
Yeah, no, I know Dave did.
Yep. I think there's one thing about it. So I think he's a great coach. He's had tremendous success at Toledo, which I don't think, well, among the MAC schools, they're probably a better situation than a lot of other ones.
You think they're better than UMass?
I think Buckley High School is better than UMass.
UMass is to do something with their state. Well, I guess they play in the other stadium a lot of times, but
they played at Gillette for a while.
Gillette, yeah. Well, that was fun.
Yeah, but now they're back at Warren McGurk.
Yeah.
Oh, it's bad. That's a bad. I don't like that facility.
It was bad back when we did the games there. Never mind now.
Yeah. No.
So what were you going to say, Shu? You had one reservation.
Well, one reservation is that he's not a splash hire. Like he's not. Right. And I'm thinking more recruiting wise, like in.
He wasn't their first choice either.
Right. I think he knows how to handle transfer portal because of the MAC. Obviously, if you're going to be MAC probably invented the transfer portal long before it was what it is now, right? Because you're always getting. That's just how it is there. Always. So he obviously is going to, I think he'll understand how to do that. I think he already kind of, is going to know that because that's what he's had to be able to be successful with in the past. But the hard thing is in the Northeast is more like people in the Northeast identify with a name. So we got literally the reason why we lost him is because we probably got him on the cheap, quote unquote, because he was out of the game for 5 years. If Morrow was in his prime, you wouldn't have even gotten him I don't mean that now he might be back in his prime, but I'm saying when he was first like rising up and the Falcons and UCLA and all when he was rolling,
taken an interview with us.
He would not have taken an interview, right? Right, but now that he's a name. So when he gets hired and he starts to have some level of success, right? When he goes into living rooms, not just for the kids, because kids don't know anybody anyway half the time unless it's really, really a big name. But the parents would have known who he was, right? So Candle, that's different. Like players will not know who he is until unless it's someone from a base. Probably high school coaches will. What he probably is really good at is getting players to come to him, which and coaching guys in a short-term manner, meaning guys he gets that he knows he's only going to have for a year or two. He seems to be able to do a really, really good job with those guys, which fits well with the transfer portal world. The hard thing is because everything is with money. If our schedule is like last year, you know what? We probably our budget that we currently have, we probably get good enough players. We're going to win more games. Now schedule's a little bit more difficult, not crazy difficult, but a little bit more difficult. And, you're probably going to require a little more money in order to do it. At Toledo, he probably got away with in the MAC. If he had a little more money than the rest of the guys in the MAC, which my guess is at Toledo, he probably did because they've had a little bit better history than most of the MAC schools. So because of that, he probably had a little bit more. He was kind of the top dog. Does that mean that he will be the top dog in this situation? That's my only concern. I don't have a concern about him coaching. I don't have a concern of him doing the short-term development really well. I think he does a great job there. Coaching the game, I think he does a really great job there. The splash hire with recruits in the Northeast, when he goes into Jersey, Pennsylvania, And maybe, I don't know, where do you go? Like Florida or Maryland, Virginia, right?
The
Maryland,
DMV.
Virginia, the DMV, right? Will that hold as much weight as he does when in Toledo? You're going to go Ohio, you're going to be Western PA, Michigan, Illinois, Kentucky, Indiana. That's going to be more your really heavy Midwest recruiting wise,
your
right?
base, yeah.
Is there any concern that he's never been outside of Ohio? And as you said, Dave, because of the name recognition factor, and I'm not doing this to throw shade at the guy, but nobody knows him.
Nobody knows him.
I mean, nobody knows him. So I kind of agree with you on that. Now I looked at their 2 deep or 3 deep for their for their last game of the regular season. They really do hit the portal hard. Their starting left guard was from Air Force. Their starting center was from Purdue. Their starting tight end from someplace, Holy Cross. Okay. Their starting quarterback was from Georgia Tech. Their star running back, he's a 4-schooler. He went to Ohio State, Arizona State, and Kentucky. This Chip Trainum kid.
He'll be at UConn then next.
his one of the wide receivers was from Northern Illinois. So you're right. He's a portal guy. He's also a JUCO guy.
Which is good.
And look, here's one thing that I hope doesn't happen today. And I'm going to the press conference. If I get a chance to ask a question, which I probably won't, I would identify myself as being from Husky Huddle. But
yes, please do. You're gonna be able to.
I don't know if I'm gonna do that. Let's not get wired at the press conference performance, good or bad. Okay, because I've heard some sentiments that as good a coach as he is, he doesn't light up a room. Okay. All right. So, but let's not. If he does and he wins the press conference, all I'll say is 2014, when Mr. Balto won the press conference, and we saw how that ended up. We saw the disaster that was. Okay. People want to point to Randy being the guy who almost brought the program down. No, it wasn't Randy. It was Bob Diaco who brought the program, with all his stupidity and his insanity and his craziness and his nastiness towards the play-by-play guy. Okay,
absolutely.
So let's not overjudge the press conference. But look, the track record, as you both have said, is success. And I know people want to say, "Oh, it's the MAC." Well, it's a conference. Now, I also went back and I looked at some. I went to YouTube, and after watching season 3 of McHale's Navy, I looked for some. For some of his pressers and stuff. And one thing, they did a feature on him, and one thing that they said, this was a while ago, important to him being in a conference. Does he know something we don't know?
No.
I agree. I totally agree, Steve. I totally agree.
That was the biggest reason why we didn't get some of the top coaches that were on the list, was because there was uncertainty about the program, uncertainty about being in a conference, and that was not a situation that some of the coaches wanted to come into.
The other thing I think that Kendall, if I were to put myself in his shoes, I get this opportunity. It's a bigger opportunity. A guy who's won a lot like he has, I would be thinking, okay, I'm going to win a few years, make a splash if I can, and then I'm going to get the $8 million job or the $10 million.
That's what I think too. So I think you mentioned that the other. So I think the first thing, if I'm him, he went 8-4. I look at my own roster at Toledo. I poach whatever players I think love me and want to play with me. And believe me, kids are going to leave Toledo to go to UConn. So if they were good at Toledo, they'll be good at UConn. Okay. So he's going to do, and listen, the Indiana coach has shown the blueprint of how that could work. He did it with 13 JMU players who were on board with him, who were good players for him, and they brought him to Indiana, and they became the foundation of his success in Indiana.
if I'm Candle, I'm going to do the same thing. Figure out which players I'm going to bring with me that I know are going to be a slam dunk culture-wise, can play the game really well. Those kids, when they step on UConn's campus, Toledo's Toledo's a decent campus, but they're going to go and be like, oh, wow, like this is going to be nice.
They're going to be blown away by UConn.
The facilities are going to be nice. Toledo has decent facilities, but
but it's not like
overall, like the atmosphere, it's going to be a better collegiate atmosphere than Toledo would be. And so I think that's gonna I think that'll play into his favor. I think he'll get those Toledo players. Like that's the first thing I'd be thinking is, okay, like I'm taking this job. Which guys are coming with me? And
who's coming with me?
Who's coming with me? You're gonna get a handful. The more he can get to come with him, the less of an issue he has.
Yeah, I'm not as worried as much about that. I'm worried about the coaches that he's going to keep or bring in. If he's going to keep Gordon, if he's going to keep anyone on the offensive staff, and obviously defensively, it doesn't really matter who he keeps. I hope that he dumps the defense. But offensively, I mean, Gordon is a Broyles Award finalist. I mean, I think he may keep him. And then it's going to be the retention of whatever kids that he wants. We have so many kids in the transfer portal. If there's anyone that he can get to stay that we need, that would be important. But it's most likely going to be a complete rebuild. But it
has been the last 2 years with Mora. Every year's been a rebuild.
It was not on offense, but yeah, I mean on defense. On offense,
you bring 39 kids in. That's a big rebuild.
We brought in more than
the offensive line was pretty much a rebuild.
The offensive line we brought in more than 39 kids, but
the beauty of losing so many seniors is that those are all transfer portal guys that are going to come right in. The majority of them,
fifth-year guys. Yeah,
I mean, you're going to go, and as soon as the transfer portal opens, you're going to have a million really good players that are going to have an opportunity to come into you right away. And so, how good he does there is, I mean, these things are, these things are things that could be like guys that are good in the portal. You really could be very quickly managed. You know what I mean? It could be really very quickly managed.
That's how you've seen these teams turn around in a year because of the portal.
No doubt.
And especially with us, I'd love to see us be able to keep Cam Edwards. That would be number one on my list. And,
I'm looking at their staff. I don't think I know, and I've been around a long time with the recruiting stuff. I don't think I know one guy on the current Toledo staff. I'm looking at it.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying his staff is going to be very, very important.
Don't you think he'll try to bring a lot of? I mean,
definitely will.
Isn't the defensive coordinator though? Weren't they talking about him for Syracuse? I think I saw that somewhere.
Yes, Matt Brock. Yes. Yeah, he was. He was mentioned for Syracuse. And he can be on his way, and please go to Syracuse. I'd love that, where he can give up 700 yards to Florida Atlantic.
No, Nimrod. The Toledo defensive coordinator.
The Toledo defensive coordinator. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. What's interesting? I wonder if he'll bring. I wonder if he'll bring the legendary high school coach, Robert Weiner, with him, or Weiner will take over the Toledo job. So he has on his staff the guy who used to be that's the only guy I actually know. Now I'm looking at it. He was the Plant High School coach in Florida, which is probably where they got their tie. They're getting some of this other reach. And he's the interim head coach now at Toledo. That guy was a legend at Plant High School. I mean, state championships all the time. athletes out the yin yang, like big time, like, you mean like 8 Division I guys, a lot of time Florida State, Florida, Miami guys, every USF guys every single year. And I wonder if he's going to bring him with him, or that guy becomes a Toledo head coach. And he doesn't come with him. That's why they keep him as the interim. But he is going to take a lot of his staff. That'll be interesting. I
don't think he's going to take a lot of his staff. He's not going to take a lot of his staff. No, he can't.
Why?
He can't take a lot of his staff.
Because he would want to take, like, unless that guy gets a Toledo job, you'd want to take, I don't know if it's Weiner or Wiener, how you say it, but you'd want to take Robert Weiner. The guy's Florida connections are insane. Like, he literally, it's like when McGuire became the head coach at Texas Tech, okay, because I used to run events at his school, which was Cedar Hill.
Was that the real big guy?
No, Joey McGuire. He's the head coach at Texas Tech.
Oh, okay.
So when Joey McGuire, he's a young guy. He's like in his 40s. So when Joey McGuire decided to go and become, much like Art Briles did, when he decided to go through the track of being a college coach, he moved up crazy fast because he was a legend high school wise.
Yeah.
In Dallas, he was a Cedar Hill coach. He was at that, and when he by the time he became the head coach and went to Texas Tech, it was like a no-brainer because this guy knew everybody, much like Art Briles originally did. When he turned around Baylor, they know everybody. And now with the transfer portal era, and you can just drop money off of people's houses and it's legal, those guys are really valuable because they were doing it in high school at these places, like had these deals that they were getting guys to come here. And I'm not saying they're giving them money, but like they know how to negotiate and work kids and families and get them to where they need to be. So I wonder, I'm curious if he brings that guy because that guy is a legend. And
if he brings 1 or 2 guys, fine.
Why don't you think he'll bring more, Steve?
Because it's not going to make a splash at UConn. He needs to get better.
Weiner would.
Bring him. Then bring him.
Nobody knows him in the Northeast. Nobody knows him, but he knows all of Florida. And that's all you need to get 5 transfers a year from the state of Florida. I mean,
I have no problem with that. Bring him.
Let me ask you, Steve, what assistant coach will make a splash at UConn?
Anyone from Power 4 school, anyone from a Group of 5 school, anyone with some name value.
Group of 5.
I think if we bring Mac Nation to UConn, it's not going to work. I don't think bringing his assistants is going to work at UConn at all. If he brings 1 or 2 guys, yes, but he's got to make really good hires, and that was the one thing Mora did. Mora had some good hires. He made some changes. He had a good staff in place. He had continuity, and that's why I think he had success. I think they got to keep Gordon.
I don't want to disagree with you, but I will. Okay, I don't think the fans give a rat's ass.
Not the fans. Not the fans. No, I'm talking about recruits. I'm talking about players. We need people who can go out and recruit and bring transfers.
But what if Toledo's got guys that recruit just because they're coming from Toledo? You don't want to hire them?
No, I don't want to hire them. I don't want to hire them.
You didn't want Jason Candle either until 24 hours ago.
I didn't want Jason Candle. I didn't want Jason Candle at all because Jason Candle's going to be gone in 3 years.
I told you he's not, but
if he goes 8-4, 9-3, 9-3, he's going to be out. That's just the reality of it.
I think he's here for a few years. And look, here's the bottom line. Here's the bottom line that everybody's got to get used to. UConn's a stepping stone.
100%. That's what Dave and I were just talking about.
So then, in your way of thinking, hire a guy who's not going to want to leave in 3 or 4 years, which means he won't have been successful.
I would like a guy to stay for 5 years. But
I think you're whistling up. I think you're whistling Dixie there, brother.
I am. I talked with Dave. UConn is a stepping stone job. We're not going to get guys to stay 5 and 6 years. If we get someone to stay 4 years, that's a miracle. That's an eternity. And the way college football is now, if you stay 2 to 3 years, it's a miracle. So the reality is at UConn, with the uncertainty being an independent, not being in a conference, coaches are not going to want to come and stay long term. I think.
Right. So let me get this straight now. You just said you don't think Kendall's going to be here more than 3 years, right?
Correct.
That's what you said.
Yes,
you also just said, out of the other side, that if you get a coach to stay more than 2 or 3 years, that most coaches would be here 2 or 3 years. It's a miracle. So you can't have it both ways.
I said in college football.
Right. That's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about. We're not talking lacrosse.
I'm saying in college football, the schools that are in conferences like the SEC, ACC, Brett Pry at Virginia Tech, Brian Kelly at LSU, these guys, James Franklin, were all fired in October. They don't have the time. So you're not going to get 3 years to coach. You're going to get probably 2 years, and then you're going to be fired. If you're there 2 years, it's an eternity. Teams that are in conferences, yes.
The third year is probably when you're going to get you're going to be going week by week if you get to a third year.
UConn being an independent is different. If UConn joins a conference, then I think we would have a chance to have a coach stay longer because there would be certainty.
Agree. That I'll agree 100%.
Even with coaches staying longer, the truth is, it's none of this is a slam dunk because Lane Kiffin, who lasted 6 years at Mississippi, that actually seemed long, right, relative to most of these guys. So, and by the way, everybody was pissed off when he left after him being there for 6 years.
Oh, I know. Yep.
But most of these guys are going to either be fired or move on, right? So it's one 100%. Of the two. Like they know in their head. Look at James Franklin; he was there for more than 6 years, right?
He was there for 12 years,
and he ends up getting fired. So all of them are thinking like, as soon as I have a certain level of success,
they're on the clock,
if there's an upward mobility I could do, I'm going to be doing it. So even if it's not, you could. But I do agree, a conference would give us the opportunity to hold on somebody a lot longer than 2 to 3 years potentially. They wouldn't look at it as a short term. I now believe, after what Morick did show to me, that if we got into a conference, we probably could be. I'm not saying we win national championships like basketball, but I think Boston College has a lot of problems. I think Syracuse has a lot of problems.
Every Big East team has a lot
of problems. Syracuse doesn't know what they want to be. They don't know what they want to be as far as a football program. Boston College does not know what they want to be. Okay, they want to be. Boston College wants to be Harvard. Okay, but they're not Harvard.
Academically, yes. Yep,
they are a great school academically, but I'm saying they view themselves like they're Harvard, and they ain't Harvard. Okay.
Yes.
I don't think UConn is that naive. Like we obviously always portray that we're the best public school in New England and all that kind of stuff when we win that, which is great. But we're not naive. I think we do think of the public school part of it more like some of these places like Penn State do, and even how down south they think of it. They think of it like, hey, the more we win in sports, the more our enrollment goes up. The more better enrollment goes in. Like Tennessee.
The more applications that come in.
Tennessee was the laughing joke academically of the South. Like any person could get into Tennessee. Now you have to be a really good student in state to get into Tennessee. Like they have so much out-of-state enrollment and people putting in, the Northeasterners, Midwesterners want to go down south. So UConn is kind of views it the same way, I think, and they've leveraged basketball being really good. and any other sport that becomes good. Even hockey and they've leveraged that to be a place that, hey, you could come to our school if you're a really good student.
Yeah, you're going to have a great experience.
You're going to have a great time. You
Yeah.
know, you're going to get to go to games that are really good. And I think that UConn has. So if we did get in the conference, I think you would get, if we had the money behind it, a really good coach,
which we would.
You would win because we're not Boston College, where Boston College feels they gotta.
Yeah, Boston College is awful. Bill O'Brien won 7 games last year.
You cut out?
No, you cut out. You cut out. And no, we lost you. Joe, you can hear me, right, Joe?
Oh yeah, I can hear you now. It just cut off.
Yeah, I can hear you. And Shu, you're gonna want to go back and look and see at the pose you were in when the picture froze. It was very complimentary.
Oh god, that must be good. I can't wait to look at that.
But no, Dave. We're gonna have conference money, conference revenue that's going to be shared.
Yeah, but not for a couple of years. People got to remember that.
Yeah,
when you get in the conference,
if it happens,
when you get in the conference, you don't get the money right away. They make you crawl for
it. It depends on the agreement that you make, but the problem is, again, we're not going to last as an independent for 5 years. I don't think there's any way that's possible. I don't think financially it's sustainable. I think something has to happen in the next 2 or 3 years where we either get into a conference or we were going to have to move down because financially it's not sustainable. And this Candle guy, I hope he brings in a good staff. I hope he keeps some of the coaches. I hope he's able to retain some of the players. The major issue right now, the bowl game against Army, kids opting out, kids in the transfer portal. There are kids in the transfer portal who are going to play in the bowl game. There are kids who are in the transfer portal who are not going to be in the bowl game. There are kids in the
way it is everywhere. It's not endemic to UConn. That's the way it is everywhere.
No, it's not. I agree. There's guys who have already left campus. So the biggest concern I have is Joe Figliano, Skylar Bell.
Where's Joe Figliano going?
He may not play in the bowl game.
Oh, I disagree.
I have a very strong source that says he is considering very highly not to play.
Why would you not play? Bell, I understand.
Because he doesn't want.
Bell, he doesn't want.
Yeah, Joe. I mean, he is disappointed, I believe, with the Fenway Bowl, and he doesn't want to play in it. He doesn't see it.
Let me interrupt.
Oh, Joe's not going to play in it. Joe, I didn't know that. I didn't.
No. Let's not put that. Steve says somebody told him that Joe's thinking about not playing.
Dave knows who my source is, and it's very reputable.
It is. Yes.
So
that part is true.
I just found out about the Fenway Bowl yesterday. You mean between now and then he decided I don't want to go to the Fenway Bowl?
Dave, did I not call you this morning and tell you that I got a message from somebody about?
Yes.
So yeah.
You know what? He's been in school 7 years. If you don't want to play, goodbye. Thanks for your time. And
that's what I said. That's what I said. I told Mike Burton, I said, whatever it is, I said, don't give the guy another red cent. Don't do anything. If he doesn't want to play and he's reading his press clippings and thinks he is this Walter Camp player, please go. We'll go with Tucker McDonald or Nick Evers or whoever. It's Army. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Thank you for everything you've done. If you are going to disrespect the program and everything that it's given you and not play in the bowl game, I think that's wrong. for him to want more to play in the bowl game, for him to want certain things to play in the bowl game? Has he earned
Why is that
right?
what's going on? I don't know. So what is the just explain to me what the that situation you think is?
I believe that there is something that they want for him to play in the bowl game. He currently is disgruntled with the Fenway Bowl. It was not what he wanted, and he is not. They're going to have a discussion about him playing in the game. Skylar Bell is 50-50 on if he's going to play, according to the same source that you have. But it looks like he is more likely to play. Joe is the one who is more disgruntled. But I just hope that it's not a skeleton crew. I hope that it's not like North Carolina last year. I hope that Gordon or Candle can rally the troops and get them into playing Army, get them ready, get them excited for it, get them excited because it's an opportunity to win 10 games, which has not been done here since 1998. It's been done once. And I think that has to be a point of emphasis. Kind of hard to expect people to buy tickets if the team doesn't even want to play. No, I mean, the team is just disappointed they didn't get something different. We pushed for the Fenway Bowl. The administration did. The kids, however, wanted to go somewhere else. But I understand the athletic department not wanting to spend money to go to Florida, to go to Alabama, to go to Charlotte, because we don't have a ton of money, and it's going to be a loss. Going to Fenway is not a loss or the same amount of loss that it would be to go to Florida or Alabama, right, Joe? I mean, we lose money.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Yeah. So I think that's the biggest thing. But the press conference is going to be huge. I hope that Candle hits it out of the park.
And it doesn't matter.
I hope that he is able to, we talked about it last week. If there was going to be a coach in place by this week, we needed a coach in place to stop the bleeding and hopefully right this ship. And that's what I hope he does. I hope he's able to do that. The kids in the transfer portal that want to go. I have no problem with them going. There's transfers every year. That's what it's going to be like. So I have no problem with that. There are certain kids that I'd love to see play in the bowl game. I'd love to see them get their 10th win. They've worked hard for it, even with the schedule that they played. 10 wins is 10 wins. I'd love to see them get that. Dave, do you agree? I mean, that 10th win.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic. Yeah, it'd be great. I mean, from a history standpoint, it's obviously would be a great thing. I wonder what players do or don't value from this standpoint. You know what I mean? Coach is gone, and I don't know if they value it. They value it as much as we value it, right?
They don't.
And I think that's where times have kind of changed. But
and Mora was the one who complained about tampering. He comes back, gets more kids to go in the portal, and then he switches all the recruits that were committed to UConn. There were at least 4 kids.
Oh, yeah, I didn't. Yeah, you know that, but I haven't looked at that. Really?
There were at least 4 freshmen that signed early that were committed to UConn that flipped to Colorado State.
Let me interrupt you for a minute. That's as much on the kids as it is on Mora.
No, I know. 100% it is. 100% it is.
That's as much on the kids as it is on Mora.
100%. But it's disappointing.
Well, I think, that's also a different thing. There was I'm going to this university thing with recruiting,
and it's because they have a chance to go to the playoff. That was his biggest thing.
Well, I'm saying that that's changed where a player doesn't say they're not literally they're going to a university, but like the proudness behind that is not the same as it was in the past. Like,
right.
So
right.
Even these great players that go to these big time schools, like to them, like even some, not all of them, some of them are like, oh, Alabama, Georgia, what's the difference to them? You know what I mean? It's like, and then there are obviously guys that are, but there's more players that think more like, okay, this coach was here and I like him and now he's here. I'm just going to go there. It's not the, it's not.
You're not married to a school. You're married to a person.
Joe,
yes.
What's your prediction for the press conference? Do you think he hits a home run? Do you think he does better, or do you think it's kind of bland? And
oh no, I think he'll do just fine.
You think he'll do okay? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he'll do just fine as long as he doesn't start talking about St. Thomas Aquinas and some of the other crazy crap that Diaco did. Then I think he'll be, and everybody will be, no matter what he does.
Yeah.
Everybody will love it.
Yeah. Yeah. The Connecticut press will eat it up.
Well, that's not. I'm not thinking the press as much as the fans.
The fan base. Yeah.
I think the press. I think we got guys in the press who have a good. Yeah, I'm not speaking about the press at all.
Okay, so. I see what you're saying. The fan base, the people, they're obviously going to eat it up. I completely understand.
Right,
Dave,
I got to scoot.
Yeah, I know. So Dave, congratulations. Joe, have fun at the press conference. I hope it goes well.
I'll report back.
And remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them right back at life.